Alright guys, welcome back. We are finally getting some time to work on the fix and flip Veloster project here. It's been super hot this past week or so, and my garage is obviously not AC'd, so it's been super hot. I just haven't been willing to come out here and work on this project after work or anything, so it's just been kind of sitting. If you haven't seen my past videos, this is a fix and flip, basically a blown up or a no compression cylinder 2. Diagnosis was a broken valve. I bought this car for very cheap. The goal was to basically fix it with no budget. I wanted to fix it with parts that I had spare laying around here in the garage. So that's what we're doing. After diagnosing it, I found, again, a broken valve. It was an exhaust valve. I replaced that broken valve, relapped all the valves, replaced all the valve seals, completely went through and cleaned all that carbon and cleaned the head up. Here is a quick look-see at how well these cleaned up, maybe. How about that? Is that better? There we go. So they cleaned up really well. You can see. There we go. There's a good shot. I'm going to say I got 99% of all the carbon out of the head here. So it cleaned up really well. Again, I threw new valve seals in, relapped all the valves. Didn't go crazy with the lapping. All the valves, intake valves specifically, sat really nice. The exhaust valves, are they perfect? No, I will admit they're not. Could they be better? Sure, if I spent a little bit more time lapping them, or maybe if I had the head sent off for some machining. But I don't have time, and again, I don't really want to have that factored into my budget with fixing this. Ideally, I just want the car to run again and run it the best it can for a 150,000 mile engine here. So, to catch you up, I had removed the head, replaced the valve. We are now ready to put the head back on the engine here. Before I do so, I wanted to talk about some of the things that have led me up to getting the head off and why I have done them the way I have done them, specifically so that you at home understand how I have this set up. You'll notice that I did not remove any of the front bumper. I didn't remove the hood, all the headlights, everything. They're all still in the car. The fan, the radiator, I didn't touch any of that in this car. I even left the battery tray in. All I removed was the timing cover, the valve cover, and the head and the turbo from this engine. And I did all of that basically with the front end on jack stands. There's jack stands under there, I promise. And I left the back end basically sitting on the ground. E-brake is pulled, obviously, and then up front here I have a extra jack with a block of wood braced under the oil pan, and that allows me to support the engine here in the engine bay with no upper engine mount here on the passenger side. You'll notice that the mount's missing. So that allows me to basically suspend the whole engine here in the engine bay. I can, if I need to, raise and lower it when it comes time to installing things back in. I can still do that. I have the jack handle still here in the jack, so I can lower the engine down a little bit, or I can raise it up just a little bit as needed when it comes time to assembling everything back in here. Again, I do want to mention that I did not remove the 90 for the downpipe. I left that all still attached to the downpipe. All I did was remove the 3 nuts that hold the 90-degree flange onto the exhaust side of the turbo. Here's the turbo. Boom. Right there. 1, 2. There was 3 studs on here. I unscrewed the nuts on there and was able to leave all of this assembled. I did not want to deal with removing the downpipe on here. The nuts on this flange are really rusty. I just didn't want to fight them, so I left them alone and disassembled it this way. I didn't want to mess with O2 sensors, so I left all those alone. All I did was unplug them from the back of the engine, and those wires are still hanging in here, you can tell. As far as the shifter cable linkage and everything, that is still all hooked up. I did not touch any of that. All the other coolant hoses and things, you'll see I have them all tucked up. So here are the inlet and the outlet coolant for the heater core. You'll see I just have this one tucked up here underneath the AC line, and then I have the other one tucked here behind the brake booster vacuum place. The harness here I have zip tied to the hood hinge, or the hood strut here, and that is holding the entire wire harness up and out of the way. It kept everything from getting tangled up, so that was the purpose of that. When it comes to reinstalling the head, I have cleaned the surface. I got a new head gasket on here, and basically I'm ready to drop the head back down here on top of the engine. I have brand new head bolts here. Do not ever reuse the head bolts. The head bolts stretch when they are torqued, and they will not re-torque again to the same specification if you reuse them. Bad idea. Always replace head bolts and head studs when you're rebuilding an engine or when you have your head off. These bolts also should come with new washers. I think there's somewhere, yeah, new washers right here. It's a special extra thick washer specifically to fit under the head of these bolts. So we're in here close with the head. I'm going to put the fuel injector rail and the injector seals back into the injector hole pockets here. Basically get the whole injector rail inserted back into the head so that I don't have to do it while the head's on the engine in the engine bay. I feel like this might be a little easier. I'm not really sure. Could I put the injectors in after I put the head back on the engine? Sure. I just feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for me to get to everything, a little more accessible with it here on my table. First off, the injector seals that I'm talking about look like this. This is an old one, and this basically sits down in the pocket where the injector goes. There's 4 of them. And I had a heck of a time finding these. I could not find OEM ones. I could not find OEM part numbers for them for some reason. I apologize. I do not have those numbers. If someone out there has the OEM Hyundai Kia part number for the injector seals on the 1.6, that would be huge. Drop that down in the comments because I looked everywhere and could not find that. The best that I could come up with were these from this company called Standard, and these are a part number of SK188, and I don't remember. I think I got these from O'Reilly Auto Parts, actually. I looked at Advanced, I looked at AutoZone, I looked at a few different places online, and struggled to find the injector seals for this for some reason. I was finding the O-rings for the other side, so the side here where the injector goes into the rail, there's another big O-ring. It's a green one. I was finding kits with those, but for some reason I wasn't finding these. I don't know. Maybe I was searching them wrong, but I was looking for injector seals and was not finding them listed for that. So I did find these. These are, from what I can tell, identical to the OEM. Identical to the OEM seals. There you are, nice and pretty and shiny. I want to point out I am replacing these specifically because when I pulled the fuel rail out of this head, one of these seals in the pocket here was actually split. So I was like, okay, you know what, let's just replace these seals while I have the rail out. I do recommend replacing these anytime you have the injectors pull out of the head. This is something that you wouldn't want to risk reusing if they are damaged, because it's going to cause you a headache down the road. You're going to have to pull the steel rail all back out and pull the manifold off, and that's just a pain in the butt. So I'm not sure the proper way to install these. So basically, I'm taking the seal and I'm pushing it down here on top of the injector where it would go. You know, it seats nice. It seems like it's nice and tight on there. And I think this will work out just fine. So again, we take it and give it kind of a nice even push on there. There we go. Once we have all those pushed on, I'm basically going to take the fuel rail. Let me take the bolts out. Okay, so the fuel rail basically kind of pops in. It kind of gets to a certain point and wants to stop. If you give it a little bit of force, you'll feel it kind of press in a little bit further. Then we get it to go in the rest of the way. Basically, I'm going to put all the bolts in it and kind of start tightening them down a little by little, each one. You do not want to crank one bolt all the way down and not do the rest. You want to kind of tighten them all down equally. This will ensure that the fuel rail goes in nice and straight and ends up nice and flat against the seat. I torque fuel rail bolts to about 14 or 15 foot-pounds. Not sure on the exact torque spec, but 14, 15 seems about right. Once you have those bolts torqued or tightened down, you're going to want to make sure that the fuel rail went in nice and even, that there's no odd gaps where the injectors are seated. Make sure the bolts all went in nicely and that the fuel rail is straight and square in its seated position. Here we are, overhead shot of the engine bay. It's time to put the head back here onto the block. I have the new head gasket laid out here. The surface is all completely clean, and I'm ready to drop the head back down on here. There are two guide pins that stick up here on the engine block that give you kind of a lineup spot for setting the head back down. You'll feel the head kind of line up with those pins and then kind of drop down where it needs to be. Once that is in place, you should be able to feel around the outside where the head gasket is, and you'll feel that the head gasket is nice and flush and square. If it is not, that means the head is not sitting properly, and you need to take it back off and reset your head gasket and make sure that it's in the right location or that it's installed properly. So here we go. We're going to set the head down. Once you get the head set down on here, again, you're going to want to check all sides, make sure the head is sitting flush and flat where it's supposed to be. Once you get the head sitting back on the engine, it's time to put head studs in or head bolts in, whichever you choose. So just real quick, I keep talking about head bolts and head studs. And I wanted to show you the difference of what they are, what they look like, and talk about real quick why I recommend upgrading if you have the opportunity. Okay, so here is the factory head bolt that comes out of the 1.6 Veloster engine. It is just a standard bolt. You can see it's got the M10 triple square head in it. You can see right there. And these are torque and one-time use only. You throw them away after you use them. Okay. Here we have a head stud. This is an ARP head stud, and this is from KDM Tuners, right there. And these are designed and machined to a much higher quality and standard, meaning they're using much better quality materials here. It's machined to a higher standard, so it's meant to withstand and withhold more boost, more power. You're going to be able to push your engine a little bit further without having any risk of head lift or any head gasket issues. I upgraded my head bolts to head studs a few years ago when I had blown a head gasket up on my show car. I spent about 3 days pulling that all apart. That was the first time I had ever pulled the head off of this or off my show car, and I figured while I was in there replacing the head gasket, why not put the head studs in? So this kit again is from KDM Tuners. It comes with everything that you need to install the studs, and it even comes with instructions in English that are really easy to read and follow. I mean, you can't mess that up. KDM Tuners puts the whole kit together. It does come with the ARP fastener assembly lubricant. This is a must-have when you're installing the studs. You're going to put a little bit on the threads when you're torquing these studs down so that they torque correctly. They come with the caps or the nuts as well for the studs, and these are also the M10 triple square right there. This stuff is just so much better quality. Like, you can just feel in the weight of it, like the quality of these fasteners. ARP makes awesome fasteners, guys. I have done ARP studs on my turbo for my show car. They are stainless, so they don't rust like the steel studs do from the factory. So it makes assembling and disassembling kind of a breeze, or at least less worry about breaking things when you don't have to compete against rust. So another positive thing to say about the ARP hardware. Again, KDM Tuners even sends you a sticker. I believe he still does anyway. I haven't ordered these studs in a while. This is a set that I've had sitting on my shelf for a little while. Here we go. I have already gone through and torqued these bolts down to the 22 foot-pounds as stated. I'll just show you quickly how I set that up. I have kind of an old school torque wrench, if you want to call it, or a cheapo. This is just a Harbor Freight. I don't have piles of money to buy the fancy dancy digital torque wrenches, so this does just as well. I'm set to 22 foot-pounds. Used a adapter to fit my my torques. This is an M10 triple square bit. I like using the longer one because you'll see when I put it down here, it gives me lots of clearance in the engine bay to do my torquing or my ratcheting. I'll just show you. This is position 1, boom. Position 2, boom. Position 3, boom. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All 10 are currently torqued to 22 foot-pounds. From there, you should be torqued. All the studs or bolts should be good. Now, if you're doing studs, if you're doing the ARP head stud upgrade on this, you will not follow this sequence. There's a different sequence of torquing and different specs for those to get those torqued down correctly. This video isn't about that. This video is just using factory bolts with a factory head gasket replacement here. Okay, moving into stage 2 of the torquing process here. I have switched out the torque wrench for a longest arm ratchet that I have, just to give me some leverage here. I don't have one of those fancy torque wrenches that keeps track of torque angle for me, so I will need to do that myself. So basically pay attention from where I start to where I end on each bolt. I'm doing a 90-degree turn, so 90, so it's just a quarter of a turn, and I will move on to the next one. You'll notice I'm starting with my wrench this way, and a 90-degree turn is going to put me right here. So it's going to give me maximum leverage. I won't be like hitting anything, or I won't get in the way of anything. Each time I'm pretty much going to start and finish in the same spots so that I can keep track of where I'm at. And let's go forward here. So spot number 1, make sure it's all the way seated into your head bolt. Boom, that's a quarter of a turn.
It's important that you pay attention to your starting point and your ending point so that you are getting a quarter of a turn on each bolt as you move through the sequence.
Here we go. Tighten all bolts in the same sequence. Another 90 degrees or quarter of a turn. So same time, same thing. Start with 1. Last round, step 4, is only 45 degrees. Pay attention to that. Same sequence, let's go. And there you have it. We are through all 4 steps. Torque sequence. Everything should be good to go now. We don't need to touch those bolts any further. Next steps will be getting the cams back in, getting the caps on the cams, getting all of that back assembled. I'll be able to put all the timing assembly back in on this side and get that timing cover reinstalled. That will all be in my next video. Hopefully this has helped somebody with this project. So far, thanks for watching.